Hey. Yo, where are you? Hey, Jay. Are you frozen?
I'm going to make an argument that will sound pessimistic, maybe even depressing, but I think it's probably correct based on
Hey, what happened?
Physics, biology.
I can't hear you. What happened? What happened to AJ?
Extraordinarily
He froze.
improbable.
He froze.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there
There
he
he
is.
is.
You know, sometimes.
AJ, this was you.
Oh, was I frozen? Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about it. You know, technology.
I thought it was me because I'm always the one with the tech problems.
Yeah, well, you know, when you pay $78 for a computer, you know, you can only expect to get so much out of it.
Well, in New York, you just buy them on the street, right? or some guy in a truck.
Yeah, those usually just have rocks in the box. That's typically
they still
how
have those. They still have those guys in the trucks on the sidewalk on the street. So.
Oh man, they try and catch you with anything
How do you live in that god awful city? God awful city. Oh my god.
For some of us, it's a haven. You know, I guess you can get used to anything. Pharmacist Ben, what did you think of that Super Bowl yesterday?
Lame. Except it was nice to see the Patriots get their little, heads stuffed down in the. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Patriots fan. I'm not a Patriots fan. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't really care. But it was a crappy game. Yeah. Didn't you think?
You know, I was actually working all yesterday.
Oh, you were working. Yeah, I didn't watch the whole game. I just kind of watched parts of it. It was crappy.
I caught the end. It was fair, you know.
Yeah.
You know, at any rate. But what did you think of the highly controversial?
I didn't watch it. If you're talking about that, I never watched. Oh, I never watched that. In fact, the pageantry around that is so mind-numbingly stupid. It's like I feel like I drop IQ points just by watching, even without the sound. It's just such stupidity. And football's a very cerebral game. Football's a very smart game. There's a lot of intelligence in football. There's a lot of nuance and strategy, and it's almost like ballet in a way. And you have to remember. Can you imagine how many plays? There's like hundreds of plays that quarterbacks have to remember. You know, I mean, there's a lot of intelligence to that game, a lot of it, and not to mention athletic genius. You know, when people go horizontal to catch a pass, or jump incredibly high just to either tip a pass, or Odell Beckham, those catches that he was making like on the side, and that's some incredible stuff.
It is good stuff. It is a demonstration of intelligence and
physical genius. I call
grace.
Yeah, grace, ballet. A lot. Some of these guys. I don't want to digress too much, but some of these guys weigh 350, 360 pounds, and they're making these really elegant movements, or they're running top speed. Like 4.640, 4.740.
Faster than you and I.
Right? And they weigh 350 pounds, or guys like Derrick Henry. I don't know if you know who that is. Like these guys are phenomenal, right?
And what do you think about their life expectancy?
If they're not nowadays, they take care of themselves better. Back in the day, they didn't. In fact, back in the day, they had very short life expectancies. Now they still have short life expectancies, shorter, I think. But they take care of themselves with nutrition a lot more than they did 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Sanjeev works with a couple of those guys.
Yeah, he does. That's true. In fact, I met Sanjeev when we worked with a company that supplied, I actually developed nutrition for the Broncos. And we got to know, that's how I met Sanjeev. He joined the company. And we would sell supplements to, I didn't formulate the supplements, but I formulated the kits. And they went to the Broncos. And those were the years that the Broncos were really good. I'm not taking credit for that. but it was back in the early 2000s. Sanjeev was there though. That's how I met Sanjeev.
No, and how did you get ousted from that catbird seat there?
It's an interesting story. That's too much. I could tell you some other time. It's a long story, but the company's turned into a multi-level. It was initially just selling vitamins or selling supplement packs, but then they turned into a multi-level company. And because I had longevity, because I was involved with longevity, I couldn't really do both companies, and so I left. And that's and then they went under, as it turned out, after that. But
of course they did.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Pharmacist Ben, on Friday, we were talking with a woman who was dealing with endometriosis and a lot of issues related to her gut health, ultimately.
It's crazy to me. That's crazy to me, because let me tell you something. Endometriosis is god awful. There's no words to describe how miserable endometriosis is. And I only know because I've observed it. I've never obviously experienced it, but I've observed it. And just by observing it, I can see how god awful it is. It is associated with things like fibromyalgia and fibroids in general and reproductive or menstrual health issues. But interestingly, because the hormone estrogen is so important for gut health, and because elevated estrogen, problems with estrogen metabolism, either elevated or clearing out estrogen, are a major player in gut health issues, particularly leaky gut. To me, endometriosis and estrogenic issues, infertility and fibroids, etc., represent one of the most tragic of all health challenges, because on the one hand, they're so miserable, and on the other hand, they're so easy to deal with. In one day, you can begin to reverse the endometriosis symptoms and the progress of endometriosis. One day you can start, and the medical model has zero answers, zippo, nada answers, because you can't really do anything with drugs. Now, a lot of times they'll, take out your female organs. That's their strategy, is they'll give you hysterectomy or partial hysterectomy. I'm telling you people, if you have anybody out there who's got a female health issue, okay, like endometriosis, infertility, fibromyalgia, fibroids, dysmenorrhea, whatever, I'm telling you, they're so easy to deal with from a nutritional standpoint, from a lifestyle standpoint, and there's nothing in the modern medical models, magical bag of tricks, that can help you. And don't get surgery. Don't let them take your organs. You need them all. And they'll say, oh, you don't need them, we'll put you on hormone replacement therapy. No, you need those organs. They're extremely important. There's no drugs that can replace the fluctuations, the normal daily, hourly, minute-by-minute fluctuations that are associated with hormone synthesis, with estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, androstenedione. You can't duplicate it with hormone replacement therapy. It's not possible. And if you do have that, you do have a condition, that's not a reason to take your organs out. Sorry, AJ.
You said that estrogen is very important for gut health. Why is that?
Well, a lot of reasons. First of all, estrogen clearance. Remember, estrogen has to be cleared. It's a very, very toxic hormone. Let me say it. Very potent hormone. And it can be toxic if it's secreted in too much or metabolites build up, like when we talked last week about phase 1, phase 2 detoxification. If phase 1 detox is proceeding faster than phase 2, or phase 2 is more sluggish than phase 1, this toxic estrogen could build up, this potentized estrogen. Technically, they call it catechol estrogen. And it's very inflammatory. Number one, it's very inflammatory for the intestine. So it's associated with all kinds of leaky gut problems, not to mention Crohn's disease, celiac disease. Women are much more susceptible to these digestive issues, these intestinal issues. But then you got the leaky gut. That's number one. Number two, estrogen is partially processed in the intestine. And if it's not processed correctly, it can become potentized. It can become extra strong. It's already potent, but it can become potentized and it can recirculate if it's not processed correctly. particularly if you don't have the right kind of bacteria in the intestine. So number one, estrogen is important for the intestine because it's very inflammatory for the intestinal lining. Number two, estrogen is cleared partially in the intestine and then eliminated, obviously, through the intestine. If you have a gallbladder problem, intestinal problem, if you're producing too much estrogen because you have too much body fat, it's one of the reasons why people make a lot of estrogen, you're going to run much higher risk for estrogenic issues, not to mention digestive health issues. And estrogen isn't just behind female health, it isn't just behind reproductive health. Breast cancer is an estrogenic cancer, as a lot of women know who deal with breast cancer issues. Prostate cancer may play, estrogen may play a role in prostate cancer. It probably almost certainly plays a role in intestinal cancers. So estrogen is really, I don't want to, in pharmacy school, we used to call it the S-show hormone. You fill in it was called the S-show because of all of the problems associated with it, how potent it is.
Mm-hmm.
Estrogen makes things happen. It's a growth substance, stimulates growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's for making a baby.
The Saturday show hormone.
Yes, the Saturday show hormone. Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
So
no, the Saturday show.
Okay. Well, this particular one we were talking to Friday, she's a twin. She's 45, weighs 125 pounds, fibroids and endometriosis, had 3 fibroid surgeries. Over 20 fibroids were removed, and she's trying to get pregnant.
No, not getting pregnant. You ain't getting pregnant, ma'am, unless not with that kind of profile, because estrogen is birth control. Why would estrogen be birth control?
Well,
why would it be birth control? Well, estrogen is secreted when you're making a baby. That's its role. It's probably its main role. I think it's the most important role is to make a baby. When you make a baby, your estrogen is high, right? When you make a baby, you're not supposed to make another baby. You don't want to have 2 babies. You got a baby. You don't want to make another baby. You're making a baby. So estrogen functions like birth control when estrogen levels are high. So high, and in fact, the birth control pill is fake estrogen, high levels of fake estrogen. One of the nastiest pills of the entire pharmacopoeia is the birth control pill. So as long as your estrogen's high, you're not making a baby. Now you can take drugs to do it, and there are fertility drugs, but you're overriding the body's wisdom if you're trying to make a baby. So what you want to do is you want to get your estrogen under control. And there's a lot of ways to do that. Elimination is the most important. That means guaranteed this gal has digestive issues. Did she write about that?
Yeah, she mentioned that on Friday, yeah.
Guaranteed, 100%. I don't need to know. I could have just told you that. That's the important thing. The way these breakdown these pathologies develop, it's generic. And so if you tell me a couple things, I can tell you a lot of things. If you just give me a couple little things, that's why I always ask for what's going on in the body, because once I see these things, you can put the whole picture together. When I do it on the telephone, sometimes now people know who I am, but when I first started doing it, they would be like, "How do you know?" I'd be like, "Oh yeah, you have diarrhea, and you also have problems with your menstrual cycle, and your skin looks like crap." And I'd go through all these things. They go, "Yeah, how do you?" Because it's generic. How the body breaks down is generic. That's point number 1. Point number 2, the medical model doesn't care about that. It only cares about the end. How it all progresses, they don't care. They don't need to know. All they're doing is fixing the end result. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When we're talking about, I take great pains to tell people this whole process, because I want you to see how the whole process develops. What we're talking about here is stopping the end result at the beginning. The root, not the fruit, right? AJ loved that. You were all over that, because that's what we're talking about here. We're working, if it's a stream of shape-shifting reactions and you stop it here, you naturally end it here. The medical model says, who cares? We're just going to take this out. So this lady had her fibroids removed. Nobody thought to see how it all developed. And the beautiful thing about when you work with it, there's several beautiful things about when you work with it at the developmental level, at the root, not the fruit, is you can, first of all, you can do it yourself. You don't need to go to the doctor. You don't need authorities. You do it yourself. Maybe you get a little guidance from us or from a nutritionist, but this is all lifestyle based. That's point number one. Point number two, when you address the problem at the root, not the fruit, is you really solve the problem. You don't, when you just cut the head off a snake here, the problem is still going. You haven't solved the problem. You just solved the sign of the problem. And number three, and maybe most importantly, is you've now added years to your life. You've improved your longevity, and you've reduced your risk of further health challenges down the road. If you just take the head off the snake, that doesn't happen. In fact, you may cause more problems down the road. So
I don't think that our friend who's looking for help understands what you said, because she just said, are there any foods or teas that will reverse endometriosis?
Anybody who tells you there's a tea, I want them to come on the show and look me in the eye and tell me that, okay? Because that's rude. That's flat out rude. And I have a lot of friends, who work with herbs, and they'll sometimes say crazy things like that. Are herbs helpful? Obviously, they can be medicinal, but you're not going to cure a metabolic imbalance with a tea. Nor should you. Think about it. You have a metabolic imbalance, a biochemical imbalance, right? And you have a symptom from that biochemical imbalance. That symptom is telling you have a biochemical imbalance. If you took a tea and drank the tea and you saw the biochemical imbalance, all right, you don't see your endometriosis, but you still have the sugar problem, which is usually what's involved, or the digestive problem, which is usually what's involved. So teas, forget. However, foods can be helpful for sure, because foods are powerful medicine, and you already have a digestive issue. So you're right, she did not hear what we said, but what you want to do is you want to stay away from inflammatory foods that cause digestive distress, and you'll know them, and that's why we have a food diary at Critical Health News. And as hard as a food diary is to keep, we'll help you do it, and see when you bloat, see when you have flare-ups in your endometriosis or fibromyalgia or fibroids or whatever it is, see when you have disruptions in your menstrual cycle. Just notice the relationship between the foods you eat and your symptoms. And foods are very important. I would be staying away from anything that is made in a factory, especially processed oils and fats. As you know, we talk about that all the time. They're a disaster for the female reproductive system and for the intestine, are these processed, hydrogenated frankenfats. And they're found everywhere. You have to really go out of your way to avoid them. They're not found in like avocados and carrots. And by the way, carrots can be very, very important for people, for when you're dealing with female health problems. Carrots are very interesting, and alfalfa. Not alfalfa. What's the other one? What's the other thing that looks like a carrot? It's not exactly. I forgot what it's called.
That's a Becca question. I don't know fruit.
Yeah, like turnips and carrots and these root fruits. Or root vegetables, actually, not root vegetables. Yeah.
Pharmacist Ben, these
and then let me give her the scalp some more information real quick, okay?
I tried to tell her to come on.
That'd be great if she could come on. I'd love it if she'd come on. We'll see.
Click that link that's click that link that's in Rumble. Becca put a link in there for you. Click that link and come on and talk to Pharmacist Ben. What were you saying, Ben, before I cut you off?
Fats, fat digestion, gallbladder health support, bile salts, lecithin, ultimate enzymes, nightly essence, ultimate microbiome, daily digest, Dr. Aria's liver cleanse, FucoidZ, collagen peptides. There's a ton of things you can take. And you notice I'm not focusing on the female hormone side of things, because we do have things like what's that called? Estra. It's like a female hormone thing. I forgot what they call it.
Progesterone?
No, it's a longevity product.
What's that called?
Zerofem. That's
Zerofem. We got
Zerofem. I didn't even mention Zerofem. I'm not looking at Zerofem. I'm not looking at estrogen. I'm looking at the metabolism of estrogen, the processing of estrogen. And by the way, progesterone antagonizes estrogen. And while estrogen's birth control, progesterone is pro-gestation, meaning pregnancy, hormone. It's the hormone that gets you pregnant. Estrogen's birth control, progesterone, is a fertility substance, and it balances out estrogen, and it's non-toxic. So anybody who's dealing with estrogenic issues should know about progesterone. Men benefit from progesterone, as well as women, by the way. And progesterone is non-toxic, while estrogen is very, very potent.
Okay, now we're going to bring Kenya on.
Kenya, what's up? What a pretty name.
Talk to
Kenya.
Pharmacist Ben.
Thank you.
Are you the vegan or is that your sister?
No, so my sister is the vegan. I dibble and dabble in being
You dibble and dabble. You dibble and dabble.
I dibble and dabble. So
well, let me tell you about. We'll tell you about. It's interesting. You both have these issues. So
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So let me tell you a couple things first.
Okay.
Are you the gal with the fibroids, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we both have fibroids.
Okay.
She has adenomyosis as well as endometriosis.
She has both. They're very similar. One's in the muscle. I'm sure you know. One's in the muscle.
Yeah.
The other can happen anywhere. But basically it means uterine tissue is growing in weird places in the body.
Yeah.
And uterine tissue is very sticky. And so it can cause a lot of pain, as I'm sure your sisters, it's severely debilitating. So I could tell you, by looking at you, just by looking at you, that you got the baggy shirt on or the sweatpants, but I can see you're, you know what I'm saying? I'm kidding you a little bit, but you're very estrogenic. You're a very high estrogen producer.
Yeah.
With that beautiful hair, your hair is braided, but if you didn't have it braided, it would be like a lion's mane.
Yeah.
Right. And these are all signs of estrogen. And estrogen gives you beautiful skin. You got the beautiful skin, right? But it's also, as I was saying earlier, the Saturday show hormone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's responsible for a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Now, here's the real issue. If you're clearing your estrogen, eliminating it out of your body, which is supposed to happen, metabolizing and then eliminating it, then you don't have these issues. So that tells me you're not metabolizing it and clearing it, which tells me that you got either some kind of gallbladder problem, liver problem, intestinal issues, something that's keeping you from breaking down and processing that estrogen correctly.
Okay.
So to compound it and make a big circle, once your blood sugar's off, and your blood sugar could very well be off by looking at you. I don't know if you've been told you're diabetic or pre-diabetes or anything like that, but you very well have blood sugar or insulin problems. Then it becomes a big circle because the insulin problems exacerbate the estrogen problems, which exacerbate the insulin problems. You get to a big circle. But those are the only two things you got to deal with. That's it. The digestive system and the blood sugar system. Period.
So how do I get down?
I'll tell you the whole thing. I'll tell you everything. But I just want you to understand that's only two things to worry about.
Okay.
So it's not a whole bunch of stuff. Now, within the two things, there's probably a bunch of stuff, but it's just these two areas you got to work on.
Okay.
So first of all, all roads lead back to the intestine. So I don't want to get into, probe into your intestinal issues, but you probably have some. Okay. So those need to be focused on. That means bloating, gas, uncomfortable feeling, pressure, maybe nausea, constipation, diarrhea, loose stool, any of those things. Those are all indicators that there's something going on in the digestive process. And you want to isolate. Oh, is this your twin?
Yes. Hey,
yeah. Oh, hey there. Did you hear me talking? Did you hear everything I was saying? Did you hear what I was saying? What's your name, man?
Can you hear him?
Did you hear me?
Kiana
and Kenya. How pretty.
Yes, thank you.
I don't think she can hear me. There's mom. Oh, look at mom. Hey, got the whole family. Got the whole family here. Where are you guys from? Where do you guys live?
Ohio.
Hi.
Ohio. Hey, Kiana.
Yes, I hear you. Yes, hi.
Hi. So look at your pretty daughters there, ma'am. Oh my goodness. What's your name, Mama?
Antoinette.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And where in Ohio are you?
Cleveland.
Oh, beautiful. Cleveland rocks, right? Except the Browns don't rock. The Browns stink.
Yeah, I know.
They stink. They always stink. Anyway, so here's what I was telling Kiana, Kenya, Antoinette. Digestion first for a lot of reasons. Estrogen's eliminated, cleared, processed in the intestine. And once it gets thrown off, intestinal health gets thrown off, you're off to the races because estrogen is very inflammatory for the
Okay.
intestine. Once the intestine inflames, all kinds of literal poisons get into the blood. And they're poisons in effect, but they're biochemicals. Histamine, have you heard of histamine?
Yes.
Like antihistamines, you know? Histamine is a major player in all of these female health challenges. It leaks in through the gut or through the intestinal lining. And it all starts with just disturbances in the intestine. So you got to get down. Why are you laughing there, Kenya?
Because Mark said Cleveland in the house.
All right, Cleveland in the house. All right. So do a food diary. Focus on problem foods, eliminate them. Number 2, fats are very important, particularly Cleveland in the house. So are you guys in longevity? Are you ladies in longevity?
No.
Oh, well, sign up, man. Sign up for. How did you even hear about us?
I signed up for longevity.
Okay, good. Sign up the daughters. Sign up for the kids.
Yeah,
How did
We
you hear?
found out about you guys from my mom. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So anyway, this is a condition called leaky gut. Have you heard of this?
Yes, I have.
Almost certainly you're dealing with it. Almost 100% you're dealing with it. So we're going to patch up the gut. That's the first step, is to patch up the gut. And so you do that by eliminating problem foods and by using all the digestive support supplements that longevity has. And we got a ton of them. And why don't you get with us, AJ? Why don't you get with AJ or Becker, and we'll put you on the whole program. I'm just going to give you the general idea here. Do you know AJ? Have you guys met?
No. Oh, no.
They saw us on Friday, but they've not met us yet.
All right. Well, AJ knows his stuff. So
you're gonna email. You can email questions@dailywithdoc.com, and we'll hook you up.
And we also have a food diary. We have a food diary we're going to give you, and you write down everything you eat, and then when your female health issues spike, okay, when you notice more pain, more cramping, more bloating, if your menstrual cycle's got to be totally whacked out. So it's got to be totally. It can't.
Oh yeah, I've been on mine. I've been on mine for 25 days now.
Oh well, yeah. Come on now. Of course.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing is sugar. And not just sugar, bread and pasta and rice and beans for the vegan. Kiana, I'm sure you eat a lot of beans.
I don't. I actually don't eat a lot of legumes.
Good.
Legumes.
No legumes. Legumes, exactly. Stay away from the legumes. Very good thing.
What about coconut water? You ladies drinking coconut water?
Yes.
Yeah, coconut water's good. You love that
Wait a
coconut water.
second, but what about the sugar in that coconut water?
Well, you don't necessarily have to have. It's not added sugar, is it? There's no added sugar in coconut water.
No,
I don't think. It is. AJ's point's well taken. If you drink too much, there is sugar in it, and because there's no fiber, it goes right in. So I think that might be a problem. Don't drink too much of it. Are you drinking a lot of it, like?
Yeah.
A lot? Yeah. Stay away. Don't drink a lot of it. You don't want to drink a lot. Too much sugar. That's true. A little bit here and there is not bad, but too much. Real coconut. Get yourself some real coconut and do the whole coconut with the fiber, and that's a little different. When you do veggie juices, and maybe Kiana, this might be relevant to you, fruit juices, I should say, you lose all the fiber, and that slows down the release of sugar. When you drink the juice, apple juice or grape juice or whatever it is, boom, that sugar goes right in your blood. Diabetes, that's a diabetes beverage right there. It's a diabetes drink. That's a blood sugar spiking drink if ever there was one. So be very careful with fruit juices. Veggie juices are not quite as bad.
We don't drink our sugar.
You don't want to drink sugar.
So even the natural sugars
in some ways, Kiana, it's worse.
What about monk fruit and dates and things of that nature?
Monk fruit, you just do small amounts. When you talking about the fruit or the powder?
The fruit.
The fruit's great. The fruit's great. The powder, you're only doing small amounts. Nobody does a lot of monk fruit powder because it's bitter if you do too much. So that's not to worry about. What you want to but think about is fructose. You know what that is, right?
Yes, I do.
Right? So fructose has this kind of image in people's brains. It's natural, it's fruit, blah, blah, blah. In many ways, it's worse, particularly for diabetics, because it's handled by the liver. And you ladies almost certainly have stuff going on in the liver because all of these are indicative.
Yeah.
Okay? So, right?
Our eyes are yellow.
Oh, girl, come on now. That's serious. That's serious.
I've gone to the doctors. I've had my bilirubin numbers tested. I've had things tested.
You know. How old? Can I ask you how old you are? 45. You're 40. Both of you are 45?
Yeah.
Hey,
You
some
do
young
look
looking
good. You do look
45.
good. I will say you do look good. I will say that.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
but
you.
really, it's going to get worse. So yellow in the eyes is a big. That means you got some. I don't want to freak you out or anything, but that's important.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out how to get down to the bottom of it, because the doctors are telling me there's nothing wrong with me.
Because they're knuckleheads. Obviously, there's something wrong.
Exactly.
Hello, there's nothing wrong.
Right.
I'm telling you what to do. Food and sugar. I'll give you the specifics, but that's what you want to focus on. Food and sugar. You know what? Here's the good news. If you start today, in 24, 48 hours, you could be a new woman. Now, I'm not saying you'll be done. You'll start the process going in 24 to 48 hours. If that's how quick it is. In fact, if you want to test it, can you fast?
Yeah. We fast all the time.
Fast for 2 days. Fast
Just
for 2
water?
days.
Water fast?
Water. Fast for 2 days. Write down how you feel before you start your fast and write down after. And keep track of it. You'll be blown away. You'll be blown away.
So I'll normally fast the first 2 days of my cycle.
That's perfect. That's keeping you in the game. That's excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. The less you put in your system to process, because you have a processing issue, right? The less you give your body to process, the easier it's going to be on the body. The more you give it to process, the worse it's going to be. And the worst thing to process, the most important things are fats, and the worst thing are fats. And by that, I mean good fats versus bad fats. Your good fats are your EFAs. AJ will tell you about that. Eggs, fish, or you don't eat that stuff, but for you, it would be more like avocados, olives, flax seeds, chia seeds, sprouts, algae. Yes, ma'am.
I've actually switched over to a pescatarian diet after hearing you. So I'm eating fish now and eggs.
Yeah, perfect.
And also from listening to Dr. Wallach, I'm eating fish and eggs now.
Perfect. Nothing with a face. You don't need to eat anything with a face. Fish and eggs. That's great.
That's all I've incorporated is fish and eggs.
Okay, good. Perfect. Yeah,
Pharmacist Ben. I don't think their mom is in longevity, which is very important. But you folks need to contact me, because there are things that Ben is really not going into. He's giving you a simplistic way right now, for whatever reason that is. But there's things like, Mom, you may be familiar with Fucoidin. You're familiar with Fucoidin? You've ever used ZRadical?
No.
Yeah.
You're not familiar with that?
We'll tell you about that. I-26. I didn't mention I-26 either. Collagen peptides, TMR. There's a zillion things you could take. You could be, and AJ's right. I'm giving you the big picture here. Most importantly, I want to inspire you. I want to let you know that regardless of what you hear from the doctor, as Kenya said, there's nothing wrong with you. You can be a new woman in 24 to 48 hours, and in 2, 3, 4 months, this could be all behind you. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
I don't know. So I also deal with adenomyosis.
Yes, same idea, same deal. Your that just means it's growing in the muscle.
Yeah, but then it also causes you to bleed heavier.
Yeah,
so I don't know. For me, I don't know if the fibroids are shrinking or not, because I'm constantly bleeding from the adenomyosis.
We're going to take care of all that. Here's the deal. Endometriosis and adenomyosis is when your do you know how your female system works? The endometrial lining. So the endometrial lining, it migrates to different parts of the body.
Yes.
Right? And the endometrial lining is sticky. It's connective tissue. It's kind of gooey. And so it gums things up. And that causes not only tremendous pain, but loss of function and loss of flexibility. So in the long run, it can create all kinds of havoc on the organs. Yet the endometriosis, it's not just uncomfortable. I mean, uncomfortable, it's painful. I'm sure I don't need to tell you. Because you now have this connective tissue stuff growing. It's like glue. It's growing everywhere. And that's horrible. Can you imagine what's going on inside your body now? That changes. All of a sudden, it's like a 5-alarm fire. All these inflammatory factors are screaming at you. The body's going nuts. And it all comes from estrogen. That's the bad guy here, is estrogen. But not estrogen. It's how you're clearing it. You need estrogen. And how you're clearing it. It's how you're eliminating it. And I don't know if you have been told about your gallbladder or anything like that, but the gallbladder is a major player in all of this. So keep your gallbladder. If you have gallstones, that's not a reason that's not a reason to have your gallbladder taken out. So the good news is you can be, this is not difficult. I shouldn't say, it's not complicated. It might be difficult because you got to change your life a little bit, but it's well worth it.
Okay. And IC3 as well as DIM detox. I'm taking all of that.
IC3 and DIM, you know, they're cute. They're not going to hurt you. Cruciferous vegetables.
Cruciferous, that's all I eat. Broccoli.
All that. You know, they're going to help. But if you have a severe imbalance, you need more than that. But definitely do that. Definitely continue doing that. There's also something else I was going to tell you when you said DIM, I3C. Vitex is good. Damiana. Yeah, there's herbs that are good that you can use. But when you said
DHEA?
No. You said DIM. You said DIM, I think.
DIM detox.
DIM and I3C. Glucarate, calcium glucarate.
Yes, I take that as well.
And here's another one. For you. Estrogen is cleared through methyl groups. So methylation, have you heard of this? Methylation?
I have.
Using methylating agents.
Yeah.
Methylating agents can help. And so things like vitamin B6 and ultimate enzymes from longevity. There's so many good strategies here.
Okay.
Thank
you.
You bet. Thank you. Good to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Kenya. Bye, Kenya. Good luck.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait.
Pharmacist Ben.
Yeah.
Who's the lady next to me? What's your name again?
Kiana.
Yeah.
You're Kiana. By the way, that's my little sister's name.
Oh.
And she thinks that what she has at her disposal right now is going to fix her. Because you left her with that impression that all of these allopathic nutritional strategies are going to help her.
No.
She doesn't understand the 90. The mom understands the 90.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you know what? AJ's right. I was telling you specifically like how to target this stuff, but you want it as part of the healthy blood sugar pack. That's what I'd be doing. The health, Antoinette, the health, you know what I'm talking about, right? You want it as part of the healthy blood sugar pack because insulin and blood sugar are the most direct, play the most direct role in these inflammatory issues, although the digestive system leads to that. So I would get on the healthy blood sugar pack plus this stuff right here, I-26.
Okay, and then also, do you think it would be helpful to get an HTMA test to figure out what I'm deficient in?
You know, you could, but pretty much you're going to be deficient in everything. And the deficiencies they tell you are based on the RDAs, so it doesn't really mean too much unless you have 0 levels. Healthy blood sugar pack is plenty.
What are RDAs? Recommended
daily allowance.
Okay.
Or as we like to call them, the ridiculous deficiency allowance. because they keep you ridiculously deprived of the nutrients you need. And Mark says no fried foods. He's 100% correct.
Yeah,
fats,
we don't eat fried foods.
Be very careful of fats. And you guys are looking really good. So I imagine you're doing a lot of good things.
We work out.
I imagine. Yeah, you look healthy. You look strong. Mm-hmm. You know, I wouldn't guess that you were sick. So, and you're not really sick, but you just have a little metabolic imbalance. So we'll correct that.
Okay.
You're killing me over here. You guys are killing me over here. Please email questions@dailywithdoc.com.
Okay.
Questions@dailywithdoc.com.
Okay.
And put your phone number in there. We will have a conversation tomorrow or the next day, and we will get you all situated.
Yes, and it's nice to meet our some new longevity folks. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can I some questions for me? Can I email some questions for me as well?
Yeah, of course.
You can ask a question right now if you like.
Okay. I have it.
Oh, you had a lot of questions?
Time you
send us a note, and why don't you come on Friday?
Okay.
Come on Friday. Yeah, and then if you ladies, if the gals, if you start your program, come on Friday. Let us know how you're doing.
Okay, yay, thank you.
Okay.
But AJ, do you deal with this particular issue? I want to go to somebody that deals with this particular issue.
AJ knows the stuff.
Your body is a unit, right? And your tissues are tissue. I know what you're saying. I'm not a woman. I'm not a pharmacist Ben. But your body's a system. I can tell you a quick story. I was one day in the building I lived in, And the woman, security guard, she's sitting there. She's doubled over in pain. She's like, "Oh, I'm having menstrual, problems. And I said, "Give me a second." I went upstairs. I grabbed a little Tangy Tangerine and a little FucoidZ, mixed it together, gave it to her. She drank it down. I saw her a couple days later. She stopped me. "What did you give me? What did you give me?" And I was like, kind of worried. And she said, "I've never had an easier menstrual period than that. What did you give me? I love that stuff. Blah, blah, blah." What I'm explaining to you is you got to clear out the estrogen. You got to deal with certain things. There's certain cleansing things like MSM. There's certain things that we can take to help our bodies act the way they're designed to do. And they come in packs. They come some separate things. They come, as Ben mentioned to you, with fasting. They come with different lifestyle choices as far as foods that you already touched on. But you need the whole picture. Becca will help me. Becca will help you. She's been through all of these things as well. So
yeah, Becca has some serious female
you don't
health
do
issues.
things in isolation.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
ladies. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, thank you.
Bye.
Friday.
Friday.
Friday. Okay, how do I take myself off? I don't know.
You got to get AJ back on. AJ, what are you doing, AJ? AJ, that was three lovely ladies there.
Oh yeah,
All
for
right.
sure. They so we do have some questions, Pharmacist Ben.
Yes, sir.
Just gonna stick.
And by the way, your point on MSM was really good. I like that. Oh, and Ultimate Selenium. How could I forget? Ultimate Selenium, very important for
if you go to fruitnotroot.com,
yeah,
you'll see quite a number of things already put together.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to tell them to do that. I'm telling them to reach out to us so that we can give them individual help.
Yes.
But if you're just watching us generally, go to root.fruit.com. Check that out. Check out triangleofdisease.com, and you'll get a better understanding of what Pharmacist Ben has been telling us for years upon years.
Years upon years.
And then we have, Becca, do we have some more Rumble? Let me get to YouTube first. Okay, on that same topic, let's start here. How do I fix gallstones without surgery?
Well, once the stones are there, you're not dealing with a metabolic issue any longer. You're dealing with a mechanical issue, and so that's a little different. We're talking here about metabolism, and that's the chemistry that leads to the formation of various substances, tissues, or stones. At that point, once you have the fibroid and once you have the stone, you got to remove it. Now, luckily with stones, you don't have to have your gallbladder removed. You can do something called, I forgot what they call it actually, but they shoot sound waves at the crystals. Litho something or another. I forgot what they call it.
Yvonne probably is familiar with
the term, but they shoot crystals, sound waves, and they dissolve the crystals. And that's what I would recommend for stones. Now, if you have an emergency, and that's really where you run into a problem, because if you have a stone and you're trying to pass a stone and they tell you, we'll take it out surgically, it's hard to turn that down, when you're going through that. So, if you have an option, do the sound wave procedure. For the life of me, I forgot what it's called, where they shoot sound waves at the crystals. And I'll look that up. You want to look it up, AJ?
Pharmacist Ben, I've had success with folks when they've had kidney stones using cranberry juice, apple cider vinegar, and the ultimate enzymes.
That's interesting. That's a new one for me. I didn't know that, but that makes sense. That makes total sense. And dissolving the crystals.
Got it from Dr. Wallach.
So it'll work the same. It's not ultrasonic, no. But I'll get the name here in a second. But yes, that's no, it's not ultrasonic. That's a very good strategy. You're acidifying the stone, and that might work. It depends. The stones in the gallbladder, though, are usually cholesterol or can be cholesterol stones, so it's not quite the same as a kidney stone. But it's something you might want to try. depends on where you're at with the stones. If it is you're in agony, that's one thing. But if it's the kind of thing where they're there, but they're not quite causing severe problems yet, you might want to try some metabolic or biochemical strategies.
Keely says extracorporeal shockwave lithroscopy.
Lithroscopy, that's what it's called.
Lithroscopy.
Lithroscopy. Yeah.
Thank you, Keely.
That's right. Thank you, Keely.
Let's see here. We had some other questions here.
Yeah.
How about this one? Is Ben of the opinion?
Yes, I am of that opinion. Glucosamine is so multifunctional. You know, why do you suppose glucosamine would be so multifunctional? It's hard to come up with a more multifunctional class. There's a few other molecules in that class, but it's hard to come up with more multifunctional class of molecules than the glucosamine class. Why is that, do you suppose?
I don't know. What is glucosamine?
Glucosamine is it's a building block to connective tissue.
Mm-hmm. I know it's in Beyond Osteo, and I'm familiar with glucosamine, chondroitin. I'm familiar with
glucogel.
Okay.
Glucogel is like a miracle. Glucogel. Why is glucosamine glucogel? What was the other one you said? Arthrodex. You know, all of the, and it's great for pets too, great for animals. Glucosamine is one of the most important components of the connective tissue. And the connective tissue is the most important part of the body, arguably. At least the most important, I don't want to say the most. It's a very important part of the body. Why? The connective tissue, first of all, connects, obviously. Connects everything, holds everything in place. Secondly, the connective tissue organizes and structures electronically the most important part of the body, which is the water, right? Remember we talked about how disease and aging are decoherence. The connective tissue blobification, right? The connective tissue coheres everything, holds everything in place, it crystallizes the liquid. It makes the liquid portion of the body like a solid. You know, think about liquid. A liquid's hard to work with because it splashes all over and it's kind of chaotic. They actually call them chaotropic. They're actually chaotic. These, water in the ocean or water in a river, it's all chaotic. It splashes. The body doesn't have that kind of water. The body has a kind of water that's structured, organized. It's almost like a solid. It's crystalline. And that structured water is a different kind of water entirely than the splashing around water. Do you understand what I'm saying? As we age, our water turns to bathtub water, splashing around water, river water. You want the water like a solid, so it forms a thing. Why? Because when it's a solid, first of all, we become a solid. But secondly, it transmits energy and electricity and information much more effectively. And that's really what everything is in the body. It's all energy and information. And the solid water, it transmits information and energy in a way that allows that information and energy to not change. It doesn't disperse. It stays the same because the water is so structured and organized. It's a really incredible thing how the body is made up, and it's the connective tissue that does this. So that's the second reason. The connective tissue, first of all, connects. Secondly, it organizes the liquid portion. And thirdly, the connective tissue is the womb for all the cells. The cells are all embedded in the connective tissue, like raisins in bread. I call it raisin bread, right? The body's made up of raisin bread. The cells are like raisins in bread, and the bread is the connective tissue. Without the connective tissue, the raisins all drop. And that's what happens. When we get older, we drop. Women will have, their bladders will drop. The connective tissue all drops. Your face drops. Everything drops. So the connective tissue is critical, and glucosamine is a trigger for the production of connective tissue. Turns it on. And that makes it important for everything, for the skin, for the heart, for the bones, for the joints, for every single cell in the body, for the water, for the female reproductive system, for all of the organs which are embedded in the connective tissue, the same way the cells are embedded in the connective tissue. I mean, that's amazing stuff. Yes, prickly pear contains an aloe vera and What else? Cactuses, noni. These fruits or plants that grow in the desert are loaded with this material. Why? Because there's no water. So they got to hold on to the water. They got to trap the water because it's very difficult to find water. If they find water, they want to keep it. They want to hold it. So it turns out that aloe and noni and cactus not only have this structured water in them, but not coincidentally, they're also very medicinal. They're very healing. They help build the connective tissue. Aloe is, in particular, is the king of plants. They call it the king of plants because it has all these wonderful benefits. But prickly pear also, anything that grows out in the desert that has that kind of spongy, mushy quality to it, slimy quality.
So we have a question. How about a teenage boy, 14, 6 foot, with a walnut-sized hard lump below the knee, just inside the center? No pain, but it doesn't move. No limitation.
Very common. What I would do, and I had this too. They call it Osgood-Schlatters disease. I had that when I was a kid. You do grow out of it. It has to do with how the kneecaps, how they develop. However, he's lucky he has no pain. So how a teenage boy hard lump? Yeah, he's like, oh, this is a little different than Osgood-Schlatter. I don't know if this is Osgood-Schlatter. Osgood-Schlatter, you have pain. Hard lump below the knee. That is something different. I apologize. I was thinking of Osgood-Schlatter because Rebecca was talking about Osgood-Schlatter. How about a teenage boy, 14-year-old? Said, yeah, that could be anything. I don't know if it's tissue or if it's minerals, calcium or minerals. Is this the guy you were talking about, Becca, Osgood-Schlatters? This doesn't sound like Osgood-Schlatter.
Yeah, so I mean, unless you're like really pushing hard on it, he doesn't have any pain.
Yeah, but if he pushes hard and there's a lump there, obviously it's going to hurt.
But there is a lump there.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be a fibroid. It could be fiber. It could be calcium. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely something. It's definitely something. You definitely want to take care of that. If it's calcium, that could be calcification, and that's a sign of kind of inflammation or something's rubbing against each other.
What's a Baker's cyst?
It's a cyst. All cysts. A cyst is a growth. All. Why do I have that echo? Who is got their?
Because Becca's volume's too loud.
Oh, it's Becca. Becca.
But I have to be able to hear you.
Okay. All right. So, what did you ask me about? I forgot. AJ, what did you say?
AJ asked about the Baker's cyst.
Oh, the Baker's cyst. Yeah, that's a cyst in the knee. You know, that's a fluid cyst. That's a little bit different. Cysts are usually the result of, well, not usually, but I would think of blood sugar issues when I think of cysts. Growth. Cysts can also be in the uterus or in the digestive tract. And in the digestive tract, I would attribute them to estrogen. Blood sugar. Those are the two. Anytime you have growths, whether it's tags or whether it's cysts or whether it's fibroids, things growing, you want to blame estrogen and insulin. Those are the two major growth substances for things growing. Female reproductive system, it's usually both. Insulin and estrogen. Anytime there's growths. In fact, skin tags, you know what those are? You ever see skin tags? That's like a diagnostic symptom for dysglycemia, for diabetes.
Back on the back, underneath.
Yeah, that's a diagnostic. That's part of the diagnostic criteria for blood sugar issues. Okay, let's do one more.
Yeah. So then AJ, can we do this question wanting to know if Pharmacist Ben will speak to buprenorphine?
Yeah, for
being utilized as substitute for oxy and additives.
For oxycodone.
Drugs for pain.
Yeah.
As the drug rots your teeth.
It rots your teeth. Is that what they said? That's interesting you said that. Because I was going to read this article. I forgot to read it. Yeah, I don't know that. I hadn't heard that it rots your teeth, but you know, that's one of the. You're taking a drug. You're taking a poison. It's shutting things down. So they use it to enhance pain pills or pain medication. But it's got all kinds of multiple uses. They use it for people who are trying to quit smoking. It's anti-anxiety. I've heard it being used for sleep, but also it enhances pain relief. It's not really a pain reliever on its own, although it's been used that way. But it's like an adjunct to oxys. However, I hadn't heard it's going to do anything to your teeth, but that's a very good point. You know, what do you think happens when you take a drug? You're shutting something down. A drug is a drug. It drugs things. Like what happens when a person's drugged? Are they at the top of their game? Are they, you know, when you're drugged, are you feeling great and on top of the world? No, obviously you're drugged. Well, that's what's happening to your body. It's being drugged. It's being shut down. It's being suppressed. For the life of me, I cannot figure out why we think we're going to be better off that way. That's not to say you don't need it sometimes. I can see that. But to think you're better off from a health perspective because you're taking a drug is just, I don't want to say what it is, but it's backwards. You know how they say it? But backwards, if you know what I'm saying. It's crazy.
I totally understand what you're saying, but I remember when I was in so much pain.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I couldn't take most of the stuff they were prescribing.
When you're in pain, you want pain pills. I'm not going to tell the story again because I told it 100,000 times. I don't want to tell it anymore. But when I was coming out of surgery, I was not thinking about vitamins. I was thinking about morphine. That's all I wanted was morphine. And thank God we have morphine. You know, if you've ever been in surgery. Can you imagine how surgery used to be before morphine? They would hold you down as they cut parts of your body off. Literally. They would hold you down. They have people holding you down. You don't want to think about it, right? So pain pills. But I want to read this real quick, and then I do have to go. Do we have another question or anything?
I was hoping you were going to send me that picture of the woman whose skin improved. But we really didn't have a lot of time for that.
I forgot. We'll do that. Remind me. I forgot to do that. Yeah, that's a great picture, huh? So I was going to read this story. Drugs can reshape your patient's gut. In other words, one of the missing links about prescriptions, because they're poisons, they kill gut bacteria. They kill gut bacteria. They kill things, and they'll kill gut bacteria. They'll throw off your gut. All right, I do have to go. God bless you, AJ. You're doing great work.
Pharmacist Ben, am I going to see you again, or this
Friday.
It for tonight?
Tonight?
Is that it for tonight?
Oh, we were going to do a call. Let me call you after. I got this. Somebody's calling me now. Let me call you after.
See you all Friday. Make sure you go to rootnotfruit.com. Check us out, triangledisease.com. Thanks for everybody being here, and we will see you next time.